slowly evolve and collide together. And I think as I got older, I realized that for me, the American dream is slightly unachievable because there's so many regulations, and it always changes. Just like the Roe v. Wade, just like everything changes just because it doesn't fit somebody else. So like it never achieves. Like now it's like they're trying to, up retirement. It's like it always evolve for the next generation. So like the achieving the American dream would never. I feel like I could never achieve it. I could see glimpses of it, if that makes sense, but I could never achieve it.
I feel the same way, to be honest with you. So.
I totally agree. And it's interesting too because I think from my parents, I feel like, we come from poverty. My parents come from poverty. And so for them, it was, their parents didn't finish school. For my parents, it was like, I'm going to get through high school. They got through high school. And then for me, it was like, you're going to go to college. You're going to get your degree. And so we did that, but I still struggle. Like we all still struggle with achieving full stability, right? And this like layer of just pure comfort when it comes to ensuring that they're okay in accessing, their healthcare needs, or making sure that they're stable in terms of being housed. And my partner has very similar experiences. He immigrated here from Mexico, and so we always talk about how we want to get to a place where we can ensure the economic security of our parents and our siblings, and what that looks like. But yeah, it's just it's like mini milestones.
Insurance now is like expensive. Like everything is just like eggs expensive, milk's expensive. Like it's just there's so many layers on top of layers. Like this example of this documentary. It's like, it's like I grew up from the projects, and I remember going to the shelter and literally eating powdered eggs and rice growing up. So I understand. So.
Michelle, I got it because I have a kind of survey-related question I want to dovetail into. So Michelle, do you want to answer that?
I actually don't have an answer for this one, so it's very complicated and layered, so I don't know.
So Neil, I will ask the same question, but let me first of all ask you a survey-related question. One thing that I found really interesting, and the survey pointed out too, and the film pointed out too, is that a lot of second generation don't see education as an end-all be-all the way the first generation is, right? I'm 125, and I came from Korea when I was 11, and my parents were all about education, right? You need to study for SAT, get a good grade, go to a good school like UCLA, go Bruins, I went to UCLA, so my parents are very happy, I would say. But even I don't kind of feel the same way that my parents feel about education. I think that's really kind of bears that out. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, and I'll answer also the other question too. At the same time, at least based on the survey and the focus groups, what we found is that there's the same American dream, whether the parents or the children. But the question is going to your question is like how to get there. So we heard that parents, those especially who were born outside, everyone was focusing on education. I mean, they didn't, live in America, so they didn't know how to navigate the system. But they knew that was key to get out there. But then when we heard from U.S.-born Asian Americans who are living in poverty, they're like, it's not just education, it's about the type of education. Like I wanted to learn financial literacy, how to save, how to invest, how to, one of the participants, we didn't have the footage here, but was talking about how, an unpaid internship, even though it's like, why would you do that, right? But then they realized like, wow, the person who did the unpaid internship ended up having a great job afterwards. So it's like those little knowledge is not known. So I think that the how is what's different between the two different generations, but it has the same dream, I think, of owning a home, of wanting to have a better life for the next generation.
That's really great. I think okay. I'm seeing the wrapping up sign. So thank you so much for Neil, Michelle, Dora, and Christina for being here, being part of the panel. Yeah, round of applause.